What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of On the Bluff. I'm your host, Christian Fowler. Joining me, as always, my producer, Kenny Stubblefield. No Gabe Coon today, so just me and Kenny like the good old days. Kenny,
yes.
How you doing, brother?
Man, I met a guy this weekend who told me I'd never met him before. I was at my parents' house. We had family all in town, and some guy dropped by the house who's a friend of my parents. Never met him before, and he comes walking in, and he's like, I know you. I was like, you know me? He's like, I've been watching you and Christian since 2018. I was like, what? So been together for about 7 years, my guy. Let's go.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It is wild.
It really is crazy to think about it. Like this month, it will be 7 years since we met each other because it was at Football Media Day.
Football Media Day.
Yeah,
in the parking lot across the street from the facility.
Yep, that was the first time we met. I was 20,
and I was like, "Who is this guy? This guy? I'm some old dude walking up in there."
Not as old at the time.
Yeah, man. 30. I was 37 back then.
37. So I'm almost as close to the age that you were when we met as I was the age that I was. Pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
How was the weekend, Kenny? Any notes? Are pretty standard.
No, man. Well, my niece moved into town. She moved in from Virginia, so she drove in with all of her stuff. My sister, her husband, their 84 kids came in, and we moved her in to an apartment out here in East Tennessee or East Memphis area. And man, it was a busy weekend. They were in town for a couple of days, and we just spent all day with them. So Sunday night.
Sounds like Sayla might have a new volleyball coach. Didn't she play in college? Your niece?
She did. Yeah, she did. She's going to play. I'm excited because she played in college, and so she is going to join Tracy and I's co-ed rec league out here in Carrierville. So I'm super excited.
That's cool.
We might actually win. There's one team, Christian, that has won 4 years straight.
Got to dethrone them.
And I got to get them, man. I got to get them. So yeah, hopefully she'll play with us next season. We literally lost in the second round of the playoffs last week. So we're done for the year, but we'll be back next summer.
But now you're retooling for next year.
Let me tell you, man, I am so tired of being hurt all the time. Like playing volleyball, like I'm just getting to that point where like, I didn't even roll my ankle and my ankle started hurting and swelling up one day during a game. I had to wear an ankle brace for the rest of the year. Then the night before our second round playoff game, I stepped on a screw in my office right behind here. Yeah. And it went, I'll show you the screw. Look at this. I had to fish it out of my, this is it. Wait, let me see. It's this one.
All the way to the base of
the way to the base of the foot.
Yeah. Rough.
And so I was hobbling both feet. So my left ankle was hurting. My right foot was messed up.
Had a hole in it. Bro.
It was a rough night for me on the volleyball court.
Yeah.
How about your weekend, man? What'd you do?
It was good. Me and Anna Ruth had our first couple shower on Saturday night. So that was awesome. I mean, I know, and I told her this afterwards. I know a lot of people don't like doing that, or I guess a lot of guys don't like doing that, where it's like a couple shower, whatever. But I'm not that way. Like it was all of our friends, all of our family together. Like to me, that's a great time. So we really enjoyed it. Got a lot of good stuff, and it was just cool. It's always cool when the families come together. I think I said the same thing after the engagement party.
Yeah,
I love it when the two sides come together. It's a lot of fun to have all of our people because most of the time we're either with her family or friends or my family or my friends, but to get everybody in the same place for an event is super cool. So
it's a good time.
It was a lot of fun. Absolutely. And then her mom's birthday was Sunday. So we went to Porch and Parlor Sunday night, which I had never been there before, but it was
good.
Very, very good. One of the best restaurant steaks I've ever had. Undoubtedly. It was great. Yeah.
How close was it? What the one in Gulf Shores?
Gulf Shores, Voyagers.
How close is it to the Voyagers one?
It's probably number 2 to Voyagers. It was really, really good. Very good.
Wow.
So it was a good weekend. We got to, like I said, we got to celebrate. Anna Ruth and myself got to celebrate her mom on Sunday. So good weekend. As we get closer, we are today, as we're recording, it is August 4th. So we are 4 months and 16 days from wedding day.
It'll be here like that.
quickly.
Be here before you know it.
Quickly, because we got engaged March 10th, so it's already almost been, what, 5 months since we engaged? Yeah, so this parts went quick, so I think we're probably a little over halfway right now, and if the back half goes any faster, like, it'll be here in a blink.
Yeah, you ain't.
Yeah,
It'll fly by. Good weekend though.
Good weekend. So let's jump into some Memphis related news. It is, I don't know if you've noticed, but football season is really close. I think the first college game is 26 days away.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the first college football Saturday, actually, I think is 26 days away.
Yeah.
So we are less than 4 weeks away from the beginning, the real beginning, the first Saturday of college football season, which means teams are in fall camp preparing for the season for a few weeks before it starts.
And it also means Bluff City Media will be having our college football Saturdays at Grind City Brewing twice a month, starting August 30th, week 1. We're going to be doing a show live from Grind City Brewing. Christian, I know we're still in the works of trying to get everybody who's going to be there. Hopefully you'll be able to be there as much as possible. I know you got a lot going on with the wedding stuff, but man, it's going to be a blast. Everybody needs to come check it out. We'll be out there. We'll start putting out some more stuff about it, but it's going to be a great live from the Grind City Brewing patio. Big TVs, it's going to be an awesome event. There's going to be so much happening. So looking forward to having everybody out there. Sorry about that.
You said twice a month, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully I can be a part of that. Like I said, I have me and just inside baseball. We have not fully talked about this, and we don't know all the workings. And
well, you were announced on the $2 Sports Show that you're going to be a part of the show already. Just so you know. Yeah. They announced Christian Fowler will be on the show. So just good. Yeah. Shout out to you.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's jump into some college football news. We're gonna talk a little bit of Memphis football. The preseason top 25 was released today, but first, we're gonna talk about a late addition for the University of Memphis, Cortez Braham, transferring in from Nevada, where he played with Brendan Lewis, who is now expected to be the Tigers' starting quarterback. Not much in his first 2 years, like 150 yards his first 2 years, and this past season, 725. And 4 touchdowns. So a solid, not incredible, but a solid season. And you would have to think with him coming in, pairing him with Brendan Lewis, who he's familiar with, that gives him, even though he's coming in late, didn't go through the spring and the summer with Memphis, that gives him an inside track to potentially being the number 1 receiver for the Tigers this year. So that's something that Gabe and I have talked a lot about this offseason, is who is going to step up in the receiver room, who are going to be the guys that make a difference. We know in the backfield they have difference makers with Sutton Smith, Greg DeRosier, Trey Amos, who transferred in from Ole Miss. But the receiver core was like, there's some transfers. There's some guys that they got out of high school, whether they're, freshmen, redshirt freshmen, whatever level they're at, that had some pretty high pedigree. But now you bring someone in where you go, okay, not only does he have the traits to potentially be a number 1, but there's also already that chemistry built in, which we know is huge. If this was a receiver from any other school who didn't have a rapport with the quarterback, or who is expected to be the starting quarterback, maybe we'd say, okay, this guy, it might take him until the middle of the year to build that rapport and to have that chemistry and to feel comfortable with the starting quarterback. But with him, coming in now in their previous relationship, it makes you feel even better, because yes, you get a weapon, but you get a weapon who knows who is likely going to be a starting quarterback. So I think that's a leg up for him coming in.
Yeah, if you've listened to Ryan Silverfield talk in the preseason media availabilities, I think he's been pretty open and transparent about kind of like what he thinks that the Tigers receiving core could be, that if they hit, they could be really good. But one of the things that he talked about is if they can stay healthy, right? Like a lot of the guys that they're hoping are going to be impactful for them this year, guys that have notoriously not been the healthiest that they've ever been, right? Or that they could have been. And so when you lose a large portion, the entirety of your starting wide receiver core to the draft, or to just losing eligibility. Yeah. Just being out of eligibility. There's a lot of questions about that team, especially when about that position group. So when you add a guy like Cortez Braham, who brings size, 6'2", 210 pounds, 220 pound wide receiver, a guy who's been productive to a certain degree in Division I football, especially like you said, playing with Brendan Lewis. You would expect that he'd be able to come in and automatically challenge for that top spot, like
contribute
be a
right
contributor immediately.
Yeah.
But again, you look at it and you say, there's a lot of questions that we have about this Tiger football team. And I think the main one is you've got a brand new quarterback and a brand new wide receiving core. And so that's tough. Like, right. Like, how are you, especially knowing how Tim Cramsey likes to, push the ball up and down the floor, or up and down the field. I mean, it's just, you've got to figure out like who your guys are. And so depth matters in situations like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned the preseason top 25. Let's jump into that a little bit. Memphis was not included in the top 25, but they received the second most votes out in group of 5 schools outside of Boise State, which is a good thing, I guess. I mean, not that it matters. This is preseason. This is on paper, and it doesn't mean anything. But I was looking at a couple of things and like bringing this to attention of people. And you tell me how you feel about this, because to me, it doesn't make the most sense, other than the fact that maybe people that are voting in the top 25 and putting the top 25 together go, Memphis has been consistently a good team for the past, fill in the blank, whatever, 10 years, and been consistently in the top 25. So maybe it's a bet on them doing that again. But if you go to the FanDuel Sportsbook and you look at the expected conference championship game winners in the American, you would think, okay, Memphis received the second most votes out of the group of 5 school. They're probably favored to win the conference. They are the 5th. They have the 5th best odds to win the American, behind Tulane, UTSA, Navy, and South Florida. Memphis is currently sitting at plus 550. So it's a close grouping.
Right.
Because you got Tulane at the top at plus 340, and then you have Memphis at plus 550. But then you beg the question, okay, so they got the second most votes behind Boise State. Where does Boise State sit, according to the odds to win their conference? They are minus 160. And the next closest is plus 700. So there's a massive gap in the Mountain West where Boise State plays comparatively to Memphis in the American. And I think some of it as well, at least from an odds perspective, more outside of a vote-getting perspective, is there's so much unknown on this team. And there's really a lot of unknown in the American overall. Like, there's a lot of change, especially at this level. You look at a lot of these teams are bringing in new quarterbacks, Memphis being one of those. And to me, and I think we've talked about this all offseason, I'm in a more wait-and-see mode with this team than I've probably ever been. And I want to talk about just the lack of continuity, because this is something that we talk about with the basketball team the last, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You look at this football roster. I pulled this depth chart up. Obviously, it's unofficial. It's our lads. It's not like University of Memphis official. That won't come out until the week of the first game. But if you just look at our lads, who does a pretty solid job at putting together these depth charts, and you go off of who they have starting on this team, there are 3 guys out of the 22 starters returning.
Unbelievable.
And they're all on lines. It is defensive lineman and offensive lineman. It's William Whitlow on the defense. That's the only one. 10 new starters on defense. Offensively, you got Chris Adams and Malachi Breland, 2 offensive linemen.
Which Malachi Breland, did he even I know he started a few games, but
I think he was kind of in and out, but he is a returner. He has been a returner. On this. Yeah, not necessarily a starter from last year, a full-time starter, but he was on this team. Outside of those 2, pretty much all transfers. Pretty much all transfers outside of that. And I mean, at running back, they've got a couple different guys, so I'd give you that one as well.
Right. We'll take those 2. We'll take Sutton and Greg DeWozier.
Yeah. But outside of them, I mean, you look across the board, and it looks like a completely different roster. We were talking about the receiving core a minute ago. You got Jaden Thompson, CJ Smith, and Cortez Braham, all transfers from Louisville, Purdue, and Nevada, respectively.
Well, the only returner, I guess, that I don't even know what his stats were in terms of catching balls, but Brady Cluse played
Yes.
last year for the Tigers.
Yep.
Wide receiver.
They've got him listed as a backup. Marcelo Busey listed as a backup, was here last year.
Got you.
Couple backup offensive linemen that were here last year, and then defensively, you look, and if you didn't pay attention during the offseason, it is going to be a confusing first few weeks for you. You're going to have to do what a lot of people do and pull up that depth chart and have it on your phone while you're watching the game. Be like, who's this number? Who's this number? I don't recognize any of these guys.
Yep.
So I tie that all back in to talking about, the odds for where they'll finish in the conference and receiving votes for the top 25. I think it just shows you using those two mediums, which are pretty high-level mediums. I mean, we know odds makers are very good. FanDuel Sportsbook's very accurate. And then you look at AP Top 25. I mean, it's very well respected. A lot of the voters are respected. And they are pretty far apart on how they feel about this team. And I think that reflects a lot of people in the media. I think that reflects a lot of Memphis fans that we don't know how Brendan Lewis is going to look. We feel at least decent that he's got experience at the collegiate level. So that's a big piece of it. But how does he fit into the offense? Do they use his legs more? Is this more of a running-centric team with Greg DeRosier, Sutton Smith, Trey Amos, and Brendan Lewis in the backfield? Or
hey, real quick before we
go ahead.
You've said his name twice. Trey Amos is not with the team anymore.
Sorry.
Yeah, he transferred out during spring ball.
That's right.
Yeah. Just want to so the other guy instead of Trey Amos, I would say Makari Bodiford. Is it Makari?
Yes.
Makari Bodiford, who came in, who's a freshman last year, 5'11", 222 pounds, monster of a kid. Probably is going to take over the Brandon Thomas goal line role. Yeah, he's a goal line running back. But yeah, those are the three guys that I think, returning out of the running back room, that I think are going to be the most consistent guys, and that's Sutton, Greg, and Makari. So.
Yeah. So it just it just shows you there's a lot of different thoughts on this team, and I kind of sit right there too. Like I don't know. I don't know what they're going to look like. And I think Gabe said, it could look like a little bit of a mini rebuild season, bringing in a new quarterback, waiting on Antoine to develop into the starter, whether that's towards the end of the year, if it's not going well, or potentially next year taking over. So I think there are just a lot of question marks surrounding this team. How do they bring all these transfers together? Because there is a large amount of transfers on this team. Can Ryan Silverfield and the staff bring them together again? I know it's been similar the last year or so, but at least you had the continuity at quarterback. You had Seth Hennigan in those 2 seasons. So you knew that you had that solid, and you had Rock Taylor, and you had a couple of other guys that you felt pretty confident about. But with this team, it's like, if you didn't watch 80% of the country, then you didn't see a lot of these players play last year. So it's it's going to be tough to predict.
I have a couple of thoughts about kind of what you're talking about, and it's super interesting. I do find it really, really strange that it feels like nobody really knows exactly what to do with Memphis this year in terms of like expectations. FanDuel has what they have in terms of they have them 5th in their odds to win the AAC or the AC conference, American Conference. And then the AP Top 25, they showed them love last year by putting them in the top 25 in the final AP poll. And so there's a part of me that wonders if maybe there just is a level of, amongst AP voters, if there is a level of respect. Listen, we don't know a whole lot about Memphis and where they're at in terms of what they're going to look like because of their roster turnover. But we also know Memphis is a team that has built enough, I guess, cachet with AP voters to get a little bit of just trust, maybe like, hey, we know they're going to be good. No matter what, no matter who they have on their team. These guys are a team that can compete on any given Sunday. That they're recruiting guys that are, a lot of the transfer guys that are coming in are guys that have played Division I football in the past, that they've played even at higher levels. They're coming back down to play in the American Conference. And so there does seem to be, like, shout out to the University of Memphis and their football program, that there does seem to be a level of, I guess, familiarity and trust with the brand that is Memphis football. And that is what you want, right? Like, you don't want Memphis to constantly have to be fighting uphill to be recognized, to be
Right.
trusted, to be looked at as a team that can be a contender team. Like,
Yeah.
you want them to go, like, listen, they've been good for a long time. And so they've been in, what is it? They're leading the country, or they're in the top 5 in the country of like number of bowl games in a row. Like, they've won a lot of games, and a lot of games over the last, decade in college football. So there's a level of trust there. I look at the FanDuel situation, and I wonder, and I wanted to ask you this question. Do you think that there is that part of this, like, what are we going to think about Memphis, or because of this transfer? Memphis isn't the only school that has to reconstruct their roster at the end of, like, at a beginning of a new year, right? The beginning of a new season. Do you think that there's a level of, do we really know what, like, can Ryan Silverfield see this across the finish line for Memphis, right? Like, he's had his best team, his most deep team, his most veteran-laden team last year, and they finished 4th in the conference, right? Like, so is there a part of it that is them saying, listen, it's a brand new roster, but also, even when Ryan Silverfield had a veteran-laden roster that had guys that have been playing in the program for 3-4 seasons, they still weren't able to get it done. Do you think that could potentially be a part of it as well, that just not knowing what to do with Memphis?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a part of it. Just a lot of up in the air, and then with the other teams, I think a lot of it comes down to the quarterback play. Like I said, Memphis has gotten that benefit of the doubt the last several years with Seth Hennigan, but if you look at the other teams in the conference, if you look at Navy with Blake Horvath coming back, you look at Owen McCown coming back for UTSA, you look at Tulane getting Jake Retzlaff from BYU after what went down with him. There's a lot more certainty with those quarterbacks. Byron Brown at South Florida also. Like, there's a lot more.
Is he still there? Is he at South Florida still?
Yes, I believe so.
Wow.
But with all that certainty at the quarterback position for the other schools, and with the question mark that Memphis has, because Brendan Lewis has been okay,
right,
but he's never been solid. Like, I think I was looking the other day at just the overall rankings for the quarterbacks in the conference, and I'm trying to find it now, to where they had Brendan Lewis. They had Brendan Lewis at 6, which I think kind of almost coincides with where they're at in the betting odds to win the conference.
That's super interesting.
Because the only other one that's above him that's not in that top level of odds for the conference championship,
right,
is FAU quarterback Caden Veltkamp. But other than that, it's Jake Retzlaff, it's Blake Horvath, it's Owen McCown, and it's Byron Brown.
Wow,
and then it's Brendan Lewis.
Yeah,
so
that's interesting. Yeah.
I think him being almost smack dab in the middle of the rankings just kind of tells you, like, this is a placeholder spot. It could rise and he could be one of the top quarterbacks in the conference, or it could go down and he could just have a disappointing season. And I think Memphis this season kind of goes as his does.
That's interesting. Let me ask you this. I have a theory about this is the first year that, Ryan in his first year coached Brady White as the quarterback. And then in his second year, obviously, Seth Hennigan as a freshman, won the starting job against Grant Gunnell, and then for the last 4 years has been the starting quarterback. I have a theory that I wanted to put past you and see what you think about this. There's a lot of coincidences, I think, in the way that Memphis coaches have handled the point guard position in basketball is looked at as like the extension of the head coach on the floor, right? Like, you're the head coach, the point guard has to be basically the embodiment of what the head coach has to be in his brain, basically. And in football, quarterback's the same way with the head coach, right? Like, in the offensive coordinator, you have to be basically one with those guys and know exactly what it is they want to do out there. And it's just a super important position in football, just like point guard is super important in basketball. I wonder what the University of Memphis football program is going to look like, and what Ryan Silverfield is going to look like as a head coach when he doesn't have kind of a safety blanket of a quarterback that he's been with for 4 years, right? Like, remember Penny Hardaway and Alex Lomax, right? Like, Memphis fans loved Alex, but they also were like, God, it just feels like there's a ceiling that they can hit because Alex was talented and he was a savvy IQ, high IQ point guard for Penny Hardaway, but there were limitations due to his size, due to his ability to shoot the basketball, his ability to do a lot of things. There was just a level of like, kind of banging your head against a wall when Alex Lomax was your point guard. But the problem is that Penny Hardaway trusted him implicitly because Alex Lomax knew Penny Hardaway. Seth Hennigan, I think, is in a lot of ways the same way, where there are limitations to his game. When he was at Memphis, there were clear and obvious limitations to his game. Arm strength, mobility, whatever it may be. There just seems to be kind of a ceiling that they hit. But Ryan Silverfield trusted him implicitly, right?
Yeah.
The year that after Alex Lomax left, Penny Hardaway had his most successful season. Well, second year, obviously with Javon Quinterly, that was tough. But they had a really good year this last year, won the conference tournament, won the regular season championship with a point guard that maybe he didn't know as well, but was a better point guard, right? Like a better player. And was a more dynamic point guard than Alex Lomax was. Do you think that there's a possibility that we could see a different Ryan Silverfield, a different Tim Cramsey when they don't have that safety blanket of Seth Hennigan out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think your philosophy has to change for sure because it's different players. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to put whoever they trust the most out there. It's not always going to be the most talented guy. It's going to be the player that they trust the most. That's why I kind of think it's all leaning towards Brendan Lewis. He's the veteran. He's been at the collegiate level. No, he's not an NFL type of guy, but he's solid, but it still has limitations. So I think they're different. I mean, they're different than Seth Hennigan's,
right?
But I think he still has limitations, and he's not like that uber talented quarterback. I mean, I think everybody knows who that is, and everybody is waiting for that moment. So to me, it's more looking past Brendan Lewis and saying, okay, after he's gone, can Antoine be that guy that he trusts, but also has extreme upside and has a top 10, top 15 quarterback in the country coming out of high school pedigree and has the arm talent and can move around in the pocket and can make plays and can extend plays. So I think it's an interesting thought and an interesting correlation. You had me kind of trying to guess where you were going there, and I like where you landed it, but I don't think we see that this year. I think we do see a different style because Brendan Lewis is not Seth Hennigan, and he is different, and he does have different pros and cons and different strengths and weaknesses. But I just think it at least right now, it feels like such a placeholder for when Antoine's ready that I just don't, I don't know what this looks like. And I think that ties it all back into the uncertainty and what does this season mean? And is it a reset, or can they break out of it and still win 10, 11 games, even with so much turnover and even without an elite quarterback or without a quarterback that's been in the system for X amount of years?
If Memphis can do that, if they can come out and win 10, 11 games with this kind of placeholder team, it feels like placeholder quarterback, placeholder, that will be super impressive to me. Would that be impressive to you?
Yeah, absolutely. If they're even in such a bad conference, and I know that's what it always comes back to is how bad the conference is, but even if they're able to do it with a conference this bad as a caveat, like it's extremely impressive because they lose so much. And not only do they lose so much, but you lose your quarterback who was a cornerstone for the team for so many years, and you just had so much familiarity with him. So yeah, if they can go out and win 10, 11 games this year, I'm extremely impressed. Like there's no doubt about it with a completely, an almost completely revamped roster, a new quarterback. Yeah, I'm definitely impressed. But with that being said, Kenny, let's take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side with the hot three. We got football and basketball, little college, NFL, and NBA. So good hot three coming up after the break.
Looking for an alternative to alcohol or conventional medicine? Check out Ounce of Hope. a Memphis-based dispensary with 2 local stores in the Sanderland Center and on South Cooper Street. You can get all the products you need in a location convenient to you. Each store offers an intentional shopping experience with dedicated bud tenders to answer all of your questions, from product selection and mushroom blends to our personal favorite, the Delta 9 seltzers. You gotta try the Peach Buzz. Try Ounce of Hope at either one of their 2 Memphis stores or at www.ounceofhope.com for convenient products shipped right to your door. Use the promo code BluffCity for 15% off any order, excluding sale items. Cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions or discounts. One use per customer.
Luca, have you seen Luca in the Men's Health magazine? Oh my goodness!
So that's for real?
Yeah. Are we scared? I mean, are we like, oh no, here comes Luca?
There's no way that is real, yo. There has to be.
Real?
There
Photoshopped.
There has to be some airbrush. There's something that was done. There's no way that dude looks just like that, yo. There's no way, man.
There's
the thing is, yo, I don't think he's never looked like that, yo. Ever. Like, it's one thing if somebody's like, oh, you remember back in the day he used to look like? And you're like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of got to that age, felt just, it's kind of where I am.
He's working out like crazy. He's transformed himself. All right, not a believer. Oh, all right.
It's just, I want to see it differently.
Okay.
Tune in to the Night Court podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight, on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story. Christian, we are back.
Yes, we are.
With the Hot 3, and I got one question for you. I had another Memphis question I wanted to ask you before we get into the actual Hot 3. But how do you think Memphis fans should respond to this year? Like, if it is it really doesn't sit well with me, the idea of a placeholder season.
I think it's, if it's a bad season, like if it's a 6, 7, even really 8 with how bad the conference is, 8's kind of on that borderline. I think it's okay to be disappointed because, I mean, you can say they lost their quarterback, they lost a lot of their production, but at the same time, with the transfer portal, you really get to go cherry pick the players that you want and that you feel like can keep you at that level. Ryan Silverfield and the staff were not recruiting players to win 6 or 7 games and then get to next year where they hope Antoine Hill is ready to go.
Right.
So I think the expectation still should be 8+ wins. I don't think it should be, okay, this isn't the SEC. This isn't the Big 12. This isn't a massive conference with very difficult teams. And that happens sometimes. You have, things that you can't control. You lose some players. You try to bring some guys in. They're not coming along well enough. And you run across 5 top 25 teams in the season. You can explain that away. But to only win 6 or 7 games in the American is you can't really explain that one. So I think there does have to be some understanding of it's going to take a minute to figure this out. But for the Memphis side of things, even taking some time to figure it out can't be losing to really terrible teams.
You can't lose these games.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, let's get to the first topic. It is, oh my God, I cannot wait. My wife is in full fall mode. She's burning fall candles now. She made some pumpkin protein muffins tonight that are a fall staple in the Stubblefield home. And it's also college football season starting up soon. Preseason poll dropped today. Let me see. Let me look at it. It is the coaches' top 25. Texas is number 1. Ohio State 2. Penn State 3. Georgia 4. Notre Dame 5. Did you see this poll,
Yeah.
and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a preseason poll. So I don't think we ever look too much into this, but it does let us know that we're getting close. And to me, that's the biggest takeaway from it. It means it's right around the corner. It is coming. Like we've already talked about for the majority of this episode, teams are in fall camp preparing for their first game of the season. So very exciting. A couple notes from it. Texas, number 1, like you said. That is the first time in program history Texas is preseason number 1, which is just
is that weird? That's wild, right?
It's absolutely insane to think about that this is the first time they've ever been ranked number 1. But they have a really good team. They have a quarterback in Arch Manning who's being very heavily hyped, and we'll see how he turns out. And then defensively, they're loaded. They're just absolutely loaded defensively, so they should be really good. If you go to the FanDuel Sportsbook and check out the national championship winner odds, Texas also leads there currently. They are at plus 600. And if you paid attention to the top 20 or the top 5 that Kenny listed off, I think it was Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, and Notre Dame was the top 5. If I can remember that off the top of my head.
That's right.
But Georgia is second in the odds at plus 650. So that just tells you how the odds makers feel about Kirby Smart and his team. But to me, yeah, that's the biggest takeaway is Texas is number 1 for the first time ever. Like that blows my mind that as storied as that program is, as many great coaches and players that have come through that program.
It's wild.
This is the first time ever going into the season that they are number 1, which means nothing. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. It just kind of blew my mind when I was researching the top 25 that this was Texas's first number 1 ever.
All right, let's make a bet right now, me and you.
All right.
Top 5 in the preseason coaches poll: Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame. Which of those teams is not in the top 4?
Which of those teams
at the end of the season? Which of those teams is not playing in the semifinals of the college football playoffs?
I mean, I would say Notre Dame. I'm not the biggest believer in Drew Allard at Penn State, like some people are. But to me, at Notre Dame, and they had a great season last year. I mean, even with the limitations of Riley Leonard as a passer, they had a wonderful year.
Yeah.
But I don't see it happening again. They lost a lot. Another but to flip it the other way, though, they have the best running back in college football in Jeremiah Love. So if they play defense the way that Marcus Freeman wants to, if they can run the ball with Jeremiah Love, and if they can take some of the pressure off of it with the passing game, they'll probably have a really good team again. I'm just not as confident in them this year, and I could be wrong for that, but
are you confident in James Franklin in a big game? He seems to struggle in big games, bro.
Yeah, no, he absolutely does. But he made it far last year too, even though he struggles in big games.
Yeah.
So they have that experienced quarterback in Drew Allard. Once again, you can feel however you want to. Some people have him as a first-round pick. Some people have him as still has a lot to prove. I personally categorize him in that second tier, but still got high upside. So I like Penn State a little bit more than Notre Dame.
Yeah, I feel you. Another thing that came out from this top 25 poll is that the SEC in a down year.
After a down year.
After a down year.
Yeah, I mean, last year was a down year for the SEC, according to a lot of people.
Really? People say that?
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about how
do
down.
Do you think it was a down year?
I think in terms of what we had seen for previous years, yes, it was a down year. Georgia wasn't as strong. Alabama wasn't as strong. Just didn't have that. I mean, you had Texas,
right,
which is weird. It still doesn't feel like an SEC team, but I guess just because Georgia and Bama weren't the same, it felt a little bit different. So, yeah, I mean, going off of the last 6 or 7 years, yeah, it was a little bit down, but it was still a very successful season for the SEC.
Well, they're back with a vengeance this year because they got 9 teams in the coaches preseason top 25. Have they re-cemented themselves as the best football conference in the country?
I mean, I think they are. I don't think it's kind of hard to question that. I know you have Ohio State and Oregon and Michigan. I'm not saying anything against them, but just the depth of the SEC. And a lot of people will bring up, oh, well, in the bowl games and in the college football playoff, they weren't as strong. And that's fine. You can make that argument, but look at the NFL rosters. Yeah. Look at these teams, like they're loaded. And could it balance out over the coming years? Yeah, it could continue to balance out. And like I said, the Big Ten is strong. Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Michigan, USC, it's strong. But the SEC, Texas, Georgia, Bama, LSU, A&M, Florida, South Carolina, with the potential number 1 overall pick in Lenore Sellers, like the SEC is going to be fine. It's not going anywhere.
You surprised to see South Carolina and Florida in the top 25 again? I mean, DJ Lagway obviously is going to be a guy who I think he's going to get a lot of NFL love, right? Like I think he's a dynamic quarterback for the Florida Gators. South Carolina's back in the fold though, back in the top 25.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers. I mean, they have a guy that's projected to potentially be a top 5, top 10 pick in Lenore Sellers.
Yeah.
And they have Nick Harper, who's an absolute freak at wide receiver. And they have a defensive end who is one of the best defensive ends in college football last year in its true freshman season as a 5-star. So they have really good players. I mean, they have one of the best quarterbacks, potentially one of the best wide receivers, and one of the best defensive ends in the entire SEC. Yeah. So it's hard not to include them. If Lenore Sellers continues to ascend and hits a different level this year, then they are a contender without a doubt.
Absolutely. Sounds like it. All right, let's get to topic number 2. There's been some extension news in the last couple of days in the NBA. Luka Doncic re-signed or agreed to an extension, 3-year, $165 million with the LA Lakers. I think there's a lot of concern about, in LA Laker world, is he gonna actually re-sign? Like, is he gonna extend this contract with the Lakers, or is he actually angling to go somewhere else? I think there were some rumors and thoughts that, man, maybe he really wants to go to Denver and play with Jokic, which would be absurd if Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic were on the same team. But that seems to be kind of, in the past now, signing this 3-year extension. It does put him in line in 3 years for a 4-year, I think close to like $480 million contract.
It's absurd.
The money is dumb. So Luka is re-signed or is extended with the LA Lakers. Then the announcement came today that De'Aaron Fox agreed to a 4-year, $229 million max extension with the San Antonio Spurs after being traded to San Antonio from the Sacramento Kings. I guess my question to you is like, what team are you the most bullish on in terms of your, like, the trajectory and the direction of the franchise? Yeah. The Lakers got their superstar for the next however long he decides to stay, at least for the next 3 years. De'Aaron Fox is a fabulous point guard. They've re-signed him to a max. They've got Victor Wembanyama, the alien. They've got Stephon Castle. They've got all these different guys.
Yeah.
What team, what franchise are you most bullish on in terms of their trajectory?
We talk about the summer all the time and how difficult it is to come up with conversations this time of year. And I enjoy it sometimes. I'm not going to say I love it, but I enjoy it sometimes because it allows us to get creative and kind of dig deep on these topics. And I love this conversation because I don't think it's one that many would have, but it was fun to kind of pull it out. For me, it's the Spurs.
Oh, man.
And it's really not even that close because, look, the Lakers, they have Luka. Luka's a top 3, top 5 at worst player in the entire world. But they're just not built for long term yet.
Right.
Now, could we?
Could they be? Could they be? Absolutely. Right.
Could they ship LeBron out and start working towards the future? Absolutely. But you look right now at the Spurs and just going down the roster. You got Keldon Johnson, Victor Wembanyama, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle.
Oh my gosh, man.
Luke Cornett, and then kind of goes on. I mean, you still got Devin Vassell. But I just look at that team and go, they are so built that like there's no team that's better built for the future.
No.
Just if you had stuff, if you just looked at Wembanyama, Dylan Harper who's coming into his rookie year, and Stephon Castle, who just won Rookie of the Year.
Oh God.
And then they have De'Aaron Fox, who, like you said, is a great point guard. He's dynamic, can get up and down the floor. He gives them a little bit of that veteran presence, which they have on this roster. You look up and down. I mean, like Kelly Olynyk, Harrison Barnes, like they have veterans on this roster, but they're not playing the type of minutes that De'Aaron Fox is expected to play. And I just look at them and go, if Dylan Harper
oh my gosh,
if he is able to do what Stephon Castle did and go, okay, I'm coming in as a top pick. I was the man in college, but now I'm expected to play a specific role. And if he does that even close to the way that Stephon Castle did coming into his rookie year from UConn, then we can look at them like we're looking at the Thunder right now. And that's what the Spurs are doing. They're building very similarly to the way the Thunder built through the draft, making the right decisions, getting some luck also with the lottery and stuff like that. But I mean, you look at what the Thunder did and with SGA and Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, and just drafting really well and building a team to the future. And we saw the money that those guys made and the extensions that all three of those guys I just mentioned got. And you look at Wembanyama, Dylan Harper, and Stephon Castle, and you say, oh, I mean, it could be similar for them in a couple of years. They could be all three getting extensions around the same time if they play up to their capabilities. And we haven't seen Victor Wembanyama take off yet.
Not yet.
Like, we're still in
You see flashes. You see flashes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's one of the better players in the NBA already.
Right.
But he's not far, whether it's this year or next year or in a couple years. Like, he is right on the cusp of ascending to one of the top 5 to 8 players in the NBA. So for me, hands down, it's the Spurs.
And what's crazy is the Spurs are even with this contract, De'Aaron Fox's extension, are under the salary cap this year. So there's a level of flexibility they have financially. Sounds familiar, right? What is it safe to say that the roster, like, so we look at Oklahoma City and we say, okay, look at their roster, but then also they have like 10 first-round draft picks over the next 5 years. They have all their picks plus a few more. They have, so much flexibility. Is it safe to say that and I think a lot of it rides on Dylan Harper, if Dylan Harper is able to do what we think he can do, are the Spurs 15-man roster, could it potentially be better than what the Thunder put out last year? Like in terms,
not right now.
I'm just saying if it hits, right?
If it hits, it'll be really close.
Whew.
I mean, it'll be really close. But Wembanyama has to get to the MVP level that SJ did.
Right.
And then Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle have to be elite of the elite at their. I mean, Jalen Williams is one of the best in the game right now.
I agree.
And Chet Holmgren is kind of. I don't know with him. He sometimes he looks like he's figured it out, and other times he looks lost. So I don't know.
Let's not forget. Last year this past season was basically his rookie year.
His second year.
Well, he got hurt his first year and didn't play.
This was his third year, wasn't it?
This is his second year.
This was only his second year?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm almost positive.
Am I that jacked up right now? Let's see, just for the sake of it.
Yeah. Some really good podcasting. Right?
This is. I know everybody's really enjoying this.
Well, he played 32 games. So this was his third year in the league, second year playing. I was wrong.
Yeah.
He played 30, but he only played 32 games as
right.
24, 25.
So yeah, all that to say, it can be really close. It's hard to predict another team to do what the Thunder just did because it was so impressive, but they have the pieces to do so. I mean, they have the draft capital in those guys, and they have the talent to be in that same conversation where in a year or two, we're talking about the Spurs competing for a championship.
Let me ask you this. What happened? Let me give you a hypothetical. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think that coincidences are a thing. I do find it a little bit coincidental that the day after Luka Doncic signs his 3-year extension with the LA Lakers, all of a sudden, Giannis's people start over in Milwaukee start going, We said we were cool with staying in Milwaukee, but we might actually not be cool with staying in Milwaukee. We might actually, we're open to this and conversations. Unless Giannis is thinking about the future of the Milwaukee Bucks and what their roster is going to look like. What's interesting about that 3-year extension that Luka had is he could have gotten a lot more money, but it feels like that he was trying to signal to the Lakers that, hey, I'm here, but I'm also willing to play ball because I want somebody with me, right?
Yeah.
What happens if the Lakers then turn around and say, hey, Milwaukee, why don't you just go ahead and blow it up? We'll boost y'all season. We'll boost y'all's ticket sales by giving y'all LeBron James and some stuff. Give us Giannis.
That would never happen. LeBron James is never going to Milwaukee. The Lakers would not trade him to Milwaukee.
But what if Giannis is in LA and it's Giannis and Luka?
I mean, they're one of the best teams in the league.
Right.
I mean, it's 2 MVPs on the same team. It's hard to say they wouldn't be. I mean, would the supporting cast around them be able to keep up?
Would it matter?
And that's the next question. Would it really matter? So it could be fun, but I'm just so tired of that. I just love the way that the Spurs are building. I love the way that the Thunder have built. Like, I'm so in on the youth movement.
I love the way the Grizzlies are doing it. They haven't had the same level of success, but the Grizzlies are doing the exact same
correct
thing. Yes.
Like, don't trade all your assets. Make smart moves. I mean, everybody thought Josh Giddey was going to be a big piece of what OKC was doing a couple of years ago. They trade him to the Bulls and get Caruso, who was a big part of winning a championship. So it's just about making
the right moves,
smart, cerebral moves, drafting correctly, and I'm a big fan of that.
Love it. All right, San Antonio's scary, and they're in our division, so that's freaking awesome. All right, last topic. Looks like it's finally coming into focus. Looks like the questions have been answered. Christian, Travis Hunter's role in the NFL. The first depth chart dropped today, I think, in Jacksonville. They released their first depth chart, and he is on both sides of the ball, but he's listed as the starting wide receiver on offense, but second string cornerback on defense. He came into college football as a starting cornerback and got some run at wide receiver, but it looks like that might be shifting in the NFL. Are you surprised by this?
No. I mean, he was one of the best receivers in the country last year. He had 1,300 yards, I think, and 14 touchdowns. And I kind of said it from the time that about midway through the season, because it was a big question of what is he going to be at the next level? Is he a defensive back? Is he a wide receiver? He's played both his entire career, college and high school. And I think a lot of people say that he was like not flashy as a receiver. He was kind of this underneath possession wide out, boring, like didn't have elite upside.
Route running might not be the greatest.
Yeah,
right?
that is like he is a freak of nature. And I think a lot of times we forget that. And I think it's just because he's so smooth. But he is a freak. He is fast. He is long. He is athletic. I mean, he can do everything. So
are you as impressed? Like it's easy to go, like when you're an NFL guy, like I know you are, Gabe's an NFL guy too. Like you guys understand the levels of work that it takes to learn NFL offenses and NFL defenses. College football is a lot in terms of the difference between the amateur athletics and the professional sport. There definitely like seems to be, I don't think it's as different as like college basketball versus NBA basketball because the rules are a lot the same in college and NFL football. You can sit there and say like Travis Hunter being able to play on both sides of the ball in college was a super impressive feat, but there's no way he can do that in the NFL. And he's doing it right now in his first training camp with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is he like, have we talked enough about how like intelligent and how just what a dog he is to be able to do this? Yeah.
I mean, I think for a while he was kind of put under not under wraps, but like some people kind of just dismissed what he did. But I do think he's gotten the proper amount of love and respect. I mean, he did when he won the Heisman. He was the number 2 pick in the draft. Like I think people have started to come around to how impressive it is. But I hope this sticks. I hope he is a full-time wide receiver that is matchup based as a defensive back. And I don't know how that works because it's never happened before. I mean, there have been defensive backs that have gotten in at receiver at some points. But as far as a full-time receiver playing matchup-based snaps on defense, we've never seen that.
No.
And does this stick? I mean, does he stay as a starting wide receiver and as a backup corner, or does it change and they decide they want him on defense? Or is it really game to game? Is it, okay, we're playing one of the best receivers in the league, we want him out there on defense, or we have a matchup we feel like we can exploit with him at receiver, so we're putting him there for the majority of the snaps? I don't know how they're going to chop it up. It's a difficult thing to do, but I just think he translates more quickly at the wide receiver position. I think it's an easier position to learn. We've seen rookie wide receivers, especially over the last 4 or 5 years, just be ridiculous off the rip, including his running mate and Brian Thomas Jr., who was absurd last year. But for first year corners, for rookie corners, it's a lot more difficult. And I just think for this team in particular, with what they have on offense right now, with Trevor Lawrence really being in that prove it time, with Brian Thomas Jr. trying to ascend ranks to be one of the best receivers in the league, like pairing Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter with Trevor Lawrence and with Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby in the backfield, like this offense has a chance to be special if Travis Hunter is special. Liam Cohen, coming over from the Buccaneers as their head coach, had a ridiculously good offense last year in Tampa with Baker and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan, Bucky Irving, and he was able to make them one of the best offenses in the league. So you look at what they have, I just think they could potentially have a special offense if he hits there. So I want to close it out with this, because I think this just shows how good he is and how well respected he is. If you go to FanDuel Sportsbook and you look at the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year and the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year betting odds, he is 4th for Offensive Rookie of the Year behind Ashton Genty, Cam Ward, and Amarian Hampton, the running back for the Chargers, at plus 1,100. And as the Defensive Rookie of the Year, he is also 4th behind Abdul Carter, Jalen Walker, and Michael Williams at plus 1,000. So he's plus 1,000 to win Defensive Rookie of the Year and plus 1,100 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I think that's a good way to close it, because you can't say anything else about that. No one else has ever done that. No one else has even been on the board for both Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he is top 4 in both.
I just hope, for the sake of On the Bluff podcast and the Bluff City Media Network, that we look up in 18, 19, 20 weeks and we're able to say Travis Hunter won both Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I don't think that's going to happen, but that would be absurd. That would be absolutely absurd. But that's going to do it for us this week. We appreciate you guys for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube, you can like, subscribe, and comment there. If you're listening via podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, you can do all the same things there. Once again, we appreciate you guys for joining us, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.